we're on.
What's
This
going
is The
on?
Collective on WSME, and we are on my Facebook page live. Yay! But
Facebook Live.
I also have the pleasure of having Antman from The Hustle Within to talk to me or with me about sports.
Oh yeah.
So we're
get
doing
together.
it.
We always get together. We always make magic.
We do pretty well. So, had a lot of stuff going on this month. Busy month.
Yeah.
Busy month sports wise.
Very busy.
You know, you got Major League Baseball and the controversy about Georgia and moving the game.
Right.
Paul Pierce and his craziness on Instagram.
Bingo.
Deshaun Watson
And his crazy stuff.
and his craziness.
Yeah.
The men and women's games of college basketball, NCAA games. What a season this was.
Oh, yeah.
And last but not least, the draft is coming. The draft is coming. NFL is coming up very soon. Is it April 29th?
Yep.
April 29th to May 1st is the draft.
Yep.
So I'm going to look at my notes. And first of all, let me just say that I was never a Celtics fan. And I'm not so sure how Paul Pierce got to be an analyst on ESPN. But hey, I guess it's because he was one of the great players.
Right.
And he just got nominated for Hall of Fame for this upcoming class last month. Mm-hmm. Right?
Right.
And now here he is sitting at home, but he's got all these offers. So let me backtrack a little bit.
Right.
Last week, probably Thursday or Friday, Paul Pierce recorded himself on Instagram Live with strippers, one humping the floor, the other giving him a massage, and then he did sort of a 360 around the room. Mm-hmm. And he was just sitting there going, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And you could tell that he was inebriated. I mean, if you give it a good look, I was just so surprised that he would even think about doing something like this. Because he works for Disney, right? And Disney is about goodness and light and cleanliness, morals, upstanding character, all of that. And he's been working for them since his last season, which I think he started 2016, 2017.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So now he's telling people bigger and better things are on the horizon. And this is a man that made almost, close to $200 million in the NBA?
Mm-hmm.
So do you think he's either, well, first of all, there's a whole thing about cancel culture, right?
Right.
They're saying, oh, he shouldn't be taken away from his job because he's not doing anything anybody else would do. Right. But I think it's a little different, right?
It's very different. Because you got to look at Paul Pierce is more of a public figure. When you become a public figure, like what we doing now. We journalists. We talking, we conversating about the game, sports. When you in the public eye, it's certain things you can do. And then when you especially working for Disney, the button up company, you can't do that. Point blank, you can't.
And I mean, I myself would think that those are the type of things you wouldn't record or go live with. Right, because everybody's got a life, right?
Right.
There are certain things that people do behind closed doors that should not be public. And if his thing is hanging out with strippers, spending money, gambling, that's his business.
Yeah.
But I'm not so sure making it public is something that we all need to know, or
Right.
the fact that he has decided that he wants to share it with the public?
Yeah, I mean, overall, I think he was more of a plan for him. I think he wanted to get out of his contract for
Do
some
you
reason.
think that's what it is? Some people
Yeah,
have said that.
yeah,
Some people have said that.
it's planned. I mean, it was definitely planned because you're not giving up that type of money that Disney paying him to do, commentating where you're not really talking that much. You're not giving up that type of money to get up. They say he had some type of riff with what's her name, the girl on the show with her.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
It's
said
not.
they didn't see eye to eye.
Is that who he was calling on to come through if she
Yeah.
was in LA?
Yep. Rachel Nichols. Yeah.
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 So, yeah. They say he was having some type of riff with her, and he just wanted to get up out of it. So I think he wanted to get up out the contract.
But here's the thing: is that the way to do it? I mean, unless his wife knew he was going to do this, you
Right.
know, and they had discussed it with the kids, because he's got 3 kids.
3 kids, a wife, and I promise you, he don't have that $200 million. It's hard. I mean, you just know the lifestyle of an NBA player, even an
Right.
NFL player.
Right.
You got to maintain that lifestyle. You can be making, if you make a $200 million, that means you living in a lifestyle of $200 million.
Right.
Right. So you got to maintain that. So you got to take jobs that you got to continue to work after you retire out of your career, unless you got great investments. And,
yeah.
You know,
and he might have.
Yeah,
he might have.
But then again,
you know,
he's part of the early 2000 culture.
Yeah.
Going into the early 2000s and the 90s, everybody was blowing money. Me, I was blowing money. Everybody was blowing money. Like, we blowing money. We was blowing money. We was buying cars.
Yeah.
We was buying houses. We was buying jewelry, clothes, no investments. That's not equity. None of that stuff have equity. You giving that stuff away. 10 years down the road, you giving a car away, selling the car for I mean, if you bought a $50,000 car, you selling the car right now probably $10,000, $8,000.
Right.
Maybe.
Depreciation.
Yeah, soon you drive the car, soon you drive off, it's depreciate into half.
Yeah.
So that's what you got to look at.
Yeah.
We're looking at culture where now everybody's talking about investments, savings, and so the people that was doing it in the early 2000s, late 90s, these are the same people that was blowing money.
Right.
In sports.
Right.
So now you get into that era where everybody's now into NFTs and talking about investments and putting your money into the right places and Bitcoin and all these different things now. We wasn't talking about this stuff back in the 90s or the early 2000s, period.
Well, and you're right, because if you think about it, a lot of what people did in the NBA 10, 15 years ago is very different from how a player is bought into the league now, right?
Right.
Because 9 times out of 10, you're getting some kind of financial budgeting lesson.
Right.
You're shown how to invest your money. You're shown different ways to gain equity. There's different things that you're learning right now, not only in the NBA, but the NFL, all professional athletes.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's a lot of money.
Yeah. And so there's a lot of different avenues, and there's a lot of financial investment classes, those sort of things, so that folks keep their money instead of spending their money.
Right.
And so Paul Pierce might be at that gap where he's one of the ones that got in before they gave them, financial literacy.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Entourage.
he might have got it. Yeah. He might have got it at almost the tail end of his career.
When they had entourages, when you bring in 20 and 30 people with you at a time.
Right. And spending, the whole fur coat thing, right?
Yeah, fur coats, merchandise, buying everything. I mean, it was just that lifestyle. We just spend. That's why the company was doing so good in the early 2000s, late 90s. because all we did was spend money. That's it. As an athlete, as entertainers, as a 9-to-5 workers, we were spending money. We buy Gucci, the same thing. We'll go out here and buy the same thing that these athletes buying. Gucci, Louis Vuitton, Prada. That's the same stuff they buying every day. Now these guys wear T-shirts and jeans. I mean, and they invested into marijuana stocks, Bitcoin, NFTs, Ring, so many apps investments. They learn how to do this stuff now, like you said, early age, before they even get into the NBA or the NFL or Major League Baseball. They already know what they're doing with their money. And they got good teams. They got good financial advisors now.
Right.
They don't have homeboy financial advisors, homeboy managers.
That's a homeboy network, right?
Yeah, they don't have the homeboy network now. Now the homeboy is just a homeboy. Oh, you the homeboy. That's all you doing. You might be my security. Okay, they might still have that going on, but when it comes to finances, they're not letting the homeboys run their finances anymore.
Well, you know, and that's the other thing. I think we're in the age of LeBron, right?
Right.
And so LeBron, even though he brought his boys with him to that boardroom, they had an idea as to what they were doing and how they were going to do it.
Yeah, they all went to school for it. Like he put them all through. Like, okay, you're gonna learn how to do. If you want to be a manager, you're gonna learn how to be a manager. You're gonna go to school to be a management.
Right.
If you want to be an agent, then you're gonna go to school to be an agent, to run the agency. Now, if you want to be an investor, you're gonna go to school to be a financial investor. I need all y'all to go to school, and then we can talk. And now, as you can see, that's one of the most successful teams from an African American standpoint.
Yeah.
Now, period, in sports and in business. Rich Paul, LeBron, you know, they own the Boston. I mean, he's in a partnership with the Boston Red Sox now. So
yeah,
big business.
Yep, it's big business.
Yeah.
But I just wonder, there is something called Barstool. I'm not sure if it's a magazine or not. I was trying to look it up before we went on air, or whether they're like a streaming service. But they say that they are willing to pay Paul Pierce $250,000 for him to do a live sports show with strippers on it. Now,
hey, there's so many ways to make money now. That's the thing about we gotta just, your imagination is so key into the way you make money. You can make money just imagining making money. It's so
and I'm sure that there are certain demographics, if you will, that would definitely pay to see that.
Yeah.
You know? I mean,
I might pay to see that. I'm not lying. I might pay to see it.
Really, yeah?
I might. I mean, you never know. That's what I'm saying. I might be in one of the moves like, hey, I might not want to go down here to the local strip club or something. I say, hey, I might want to watch Paul Pierce talk about sports with strippers dancing around him. Hey, you never know. That's the type of mood that guys, as sports guys, we get into. Might have that mood like, you know what? I was going to go out tonight, but they say Paul Pierce is going to be on Barstool talking sports with strippers.
That's just incredible to me. But maybe it's because, of course, that's not my thing.
Right.
And, you know, I can't knock women for how they get their money. I mean, it's not me, but if that's how they get paid, because listen, I have heard people paying off student loans stripping.
Bingo.
So,
yeah. So my fellow classmates, you know, there was sometimes I went to, you know, we used to be in, you know, when I was in university, I used to go, we go to the next couple towns over.
Yeah.
And, go, you know, so people won't see us. And our female classmates, they used to do the same thing, but they used to be the entertainment. And I was like, wow, isn't that so-and-so? Isn't that so-and-so? And be like, wow, okay, she's in my psychology class. She in my class. Wow. They were doing it to, like you said, pay classes. So I couldn't knock them for that. Back then when I was young, I was thinking like, oh man, maybe I can, I can spit some game to her or something. But my mindset then, that was now compared to now. I'm looking at it. Okay, they was out here hustling to get money. They was trying to get what they're gonna get to get the money
to pay for their education,
books or whatever, their education.
Yeah. Yep. So it's just interesting to me that no matter what this looks like, it looks like Paul Pierce, it may turn out to be a winner in all this.
Might be a winner. He got something, believe me, he got something up his sleeves.
Well, he keeps saying it on Instagram. I mean, not on Instagram, on Twitter. Yeah. So, and speaking of another athlete who has got issues as far as women, Deshaun Watson. He's lost about $250 million in endorsements.
Already, yep.
Already. Yep. Because different women, some who were attached to the Houston organization, other women outside of the organization, have either accused him of rape or sexual harassment. And it's been over the past, I believe, 5 years.
Right.
So the question becomes, it's interesting because we talked about his contract, back in January, right?
Right.
And he was getting what? He was one of the ones that wasn't complaining. That was the big thing, because it was he, Russell Wilson, and I can't remember who the third person was, the guy from Dallas, the guy from the Cowboys, quarterback from the Cowboys.
Yeah, Dak.
And Deshaun. And they all, everybody was saying, oh, Russell's crying the loudest because he ain't happy. Maybe he'll go, but nobody was really offering him the money.
Right.
The Cowboys quarterback was like, listen, I ain't got nothing to say about it. I'm going to let my agent do the talking. And as it turns out, because Deshaun was the quietest, because I guess he was in negotiations.
Yeah.
He got that huge contract. How much was it? Do you remember?
160 for 4 years, I think. 160.
Yeah. About 160, 165 for the 4 years.
Mm-hmm. With 100 and I think it was like 100 and something guarantee with no trade clause. No, he couldn't trade it. So he can pick and choose who he want to get traded with. So, yeah. So, I mean, at the end of the day, like, I have sympathy for the women that's coming out.
Right, because they have a right to speak out.
They have a right to speak out. And then also, I watched something with Skip and Shannon.
Yeah, Shannon Sharp.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He was saying, like, hey, you got a lot of people that's going to be jumping on the right, and you got a lot of people jumping on the left. You're going to have people right in the middle. Like, right now, like I said, you can't judge what these women are saying.
Right.
Like, we're not the judge. We're not the jury.
Right.
This is like, this is the court of public opinion. Right.
Yeah, right now it is.
People that automatic put them out. Oh, yeah, he did it. Then you got people that saying, man, he didn't do that, because all of a sudden, as soon as he started talking about getting traded and, Houston organization was like, oh, no, we're not trading you. And now they going back and forth between that. Then all of a sudden, all these allegations come out. Then you got people that's right there in the middle, like, okay, let it be played out in public, in court. Let it be played out in court. Let's see where the truth comes. Because, like you said, it's investigations. It's going to definitely be a lot of investigations. So if the women are lying, they'll get dealt with from an investigation standpoint. If he's lying, he'll get dealt with from an investigation standpoint.
And he won't be playing. He won't be playing in the NFL.
Right. The truth will come out.
Yeah.
That's the way you got to look at this type of stuff. You can't, when you talk, okay, looking at the left side saying, hey, all of a sudden, all these allegations come out as soon as he start talking about trade. Trade. I want to get out of this organization. All these allegations come out. Anybody from the public standing looking right now in social media, they're going to be like, whoa, wait a minute. Especially, like people that's in sports, they're going to be like, wait a minute now, this don't look right. Because all of a sudden, especially talking about sports.
Yeah.
And then we go into sexual allegations and sexual misconduct and rape and these different sexual assault. And he was just talking about getting out of a contract that's like you said, it's worth $160-some million.
Yeah.
You know.
But I think when you look at the NFL, especially over the past 10 years,
right,
you've had a lot of allegations about a lot of different players.
Right.
And unfortunately, for the women involved, a lot of the players were not convicted. The women never got any kind of satisfaction.
Right.
And I think it changed when
Ray Rice and
the Ray Rice incident happened.
But
when clearly you saw everything right there on camera.
And it took a long time for the NFL to do anything about that.
About that. Right. Right.
He stayed reinstated. He was reinstated twice in that same process. Think about it. He was suspended. You see the video live where he knocks his wife out, his girlfriend at the time. He knocks her out, drags off the elevator or drag on the elevator, one or the other. I don't know what it was.
Right.
And then he kept his job for like a good 3-4 weeks before they suspended him. Because they had nothing in place to convict this type of situation. Because like you said, the NFL players was getting away with everything. They was getting away with it. I mean, some guys even did some murdering, I think.
Yeah. Well, do you remember a while back? Now, this has been years ago. When, oh goodness, what's his name? At the time, the Ravens.
Ray Lewis?
Yes.
Yeah.
Was involved in a murder case. And he actually had to take the stand and testify.
Right.
You know, my man that was from here, that was from Connecticut, that played for the Patriots, was involved.
Aaron Hernandez.
Aaron Hernandez was involved in a murder in Miami.
Right.
When he was in college.
With multiple murders.
Yeah.
He was a mass murderer. Actually, he was a mass murderer.
He was a mass murderer.
He had killed a couple people before they even realized, and he was still playing.
Right. And was making oogagles of money.
And signed a new contract with New England. He signed a $18-20 million contract.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And that was a big contract in that time because for a tight end anyway.
Right.
He was a tight end. So that was a big contract. So he was making
that was a lot of money. Yeah.
20, 30
and actually had planned on staying with the Patriots.
And he was over here a mass murderer.
He had done several murders down in Miami, and the school ignored it.
Right.
That was the other thing. You know, you have to wonder if the college mentality, obviously it does, right? Mm-hmm. That the college mentality follows into the NFL. And a lot of the coaches who come from those environments also take that college mentality with them. What do I want? Do I want the player and how he plays the game, or do I let him go and we lose?
Because, say if everything is false allegations for the Rocks out there plays out in court, real court or whatever. Because you got to remember, all the cases are civil right now.
Yes.
So all you have to prove is intent or something. That civil cases are different than criminal.
Correct.
Different. So all you got to prove is like, hey, he was in that place at that time, and he turned around. He had no clothes on. That's all they have to prove, and he guilty. You got to pay whatever the civil suit is. Now, say if everything comes out negative, he was already judged in the public opinion.
Mm-hmm. So the court of public opinion. Yeah.
It's messing up his reputation right now.
Right.
So if he is innocent, let's say he is innocent, he'll never had that same career. He was a poster boy. He was a quarterback, poster boy. That's what quarterbacks are. They poster boys for the team. They are the face of the teams. They're the one that get the most money. Only second players to them is the left tackle, and that's the one that protect the quarterback. After that, nobody else get the same amount of money that a quarterback gets. So the quarterback is always the face of the franchise.
All right, hold that thought. Mm-hmm. It's time to take a break. We're going to come back. You finish that thought. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the NFL draft.
Okay.
And NCAA. All right?
All right.
You're watching The Collective live on my Facebook page. And I got Antman with me from WSME's The Hustle Within. And this is The Collective on WSME Radio. Enlightenment Radio, baby.
All right.
Thanks so much for letting me take that break. Antman from The Hustle Within is with us live on Facebook as we talk about sports on The Collective. So you were saying that basically the quarterback is the face of the franchise.
Right.
So goes the quarterback, so goes the franchise.
Bingo.
Right?
If you don't have a quarterback, you don't have a franchise. Like the Jets. Like you said, we're going once we talk about the draft a little, but the Jets, for example, you can't. It's almost like suicide when you draft 2 to 3 quarterbacks in the same within a 3-4 year span. Your franchise is dead. Yeah, it's going to be hard to build.
Why is that?
Because the quarterbacks are the key pieces that you need to build your franchise around. So if you come every other year drafting a quarterback or trading that quarterback that you drafted, you're going to get into dead cap money, meaning you're going to owe a lot of money.
Right.
The quarterback get the majority of the money. Even as rookies, the quarterback get a bigger contract. So if you got dead cap money and you trying to build a team, that's why you build from the draft. You got to draft a left tackle, right tackle, linebackers, corners, safeties. You need to build a team. You can't be drafting a quarterback every year.
Right.
You can't do it.
Doesn't work.
Right.
So let's go into the draft.
Okay.
We know that the Jets have the first 3 picks, correct?
Jets have the number 2 pick.
They have the number 2 pick, but they also have there's something else I saw today. They've got
they traded their quarterback Donald to Carolina. Okay. And so they get a 2, a second rounder,
a second round pick,
a 4,
right?
And a 6 in the next couple of years.
That's it. Yep, that's what I saw today.
Yeah. But they don't get it right now. They don't get it all this year now. They get it
right. It comes
next couple of years.
Yeah, in a couple of years. It's down the road. Yeah. But okay. So how does that help them in the long run?
Well, they got an opportunity to draft a very good quarterback that I think is very good, Zach Wilson, which comes from BYU. I think he's going to be a very good quarterback in the NFL. So they got a chance to draft him. And Phillips. They got Justin Phillips. They got a chance to draft them too. Them are 2 very good quarterbacks. I think going to be very good in this draft class. So by bringing in this type of quarterback, which can be like you said, looking at Deshaun Watson, he's one of them quarterbacks, young, 25 years old.
Yeah,
you got him if you keep him happy and you build a team around him, that's a franchise quarterback. He can bring you to the Super Bowls. He can put the numbers up. He's an all-pro. He's an all-pro. He's an all-star.
Right.
These are the guys that's gonna make money. These are the guys that are gonna bring people into your stand, and they're gonna bring the fans in. They're gonna make you to the playoffs. They're gonna take you to the promised land.
Yeah. Well, it's the same. It's the same thing with Russell Wilson, right?
Right.
Russell stayed. So now there's talk about different people wanting to go to Seattle because they know he's hungry to get back to the Super Bowl.
And build that team around him.
And build a team around it.
That line, we really need a line. I'm a Seattle fan, so
I know.
I'm a Seattle fan. So we need to build a line around Russell Wilson. Once we build that line around Russell Wilson, we can't be stopped.
What do you think? What do you think Seattle should be looking for?
Left tackle, right tackle. Okay. Left guard, right guard.
So, you saying everything. You can't have them get rid of everything, Antman. Come on.
No, we got one piece. We got a center from the Raiders, Jordan. Yeah,
excuse me.
Last name Jordan. We got him. He's good. So I'm gonna stick with him. They take him. And now we need a left tackle, a right tackle, a right guard, and a left guard, and we got a center. We good. We got a center.
You good?
We're good.
Should they get rid of the cheerleaders?
Yeah, I was comparing the Dallas cheerleaders to our cheerleaders. I said, wait a minute now. We might need to trade some of them cheerleaders too. We might need to go to what's his name, Paul Pierce, and see some of them.
You're wrong for that. You're wrong for that.
We might have to go talk to Paul Pierce a little bit because wait a minute now. Some of our cheerleaders like.
You know, I'm laughing because I can't remember who it was. I think Stephen A. was talking about the Cowboys.
Right.
And he was saying, you know, get rid of everybody, including the cheerleaders. So that's sort of a running joke between me and my mom, you know, because she's a big Dallas fan.
Oh, yeah, don't get rid of cheerleaders. Now, Dallas cheerleaders are always, they always good. You don't get rid of the Dallas cheerleaders. That's what they'll say.
Not according to Stephen A. Stephen A's like, everybody has to go.
Stephen A. need to recant that statement because Dallas cheerleaders are always good. I mean, they always look good and they're always in shape. They're always good. Good to go.
So let's talk about Charlotte.
Okay.
What do you think they should be looking for?
What, Carolina?
Yeah.
Carolina Panthers. Oh, man.
I'm sorry, Carolina Panthers, yes.
Oh, they need a quarterback. I think they should look at Justin Phillips. Mm-hmm. And their defense is pretty decent. I think they might need a couple more interior players with defense, like maybe a defensive tackle. Even a linebacker. I think they might a linebacker or defensive tackle might be good for them.
Yeah.
But I think they got a pretty good, and maybe a corner. Maybe a couple corners.
Maybe a couple of corners.
Yeah, look at the corners too, because they kind of up and down on that.
Yeah, their stats were not great.
So a couple corners and a quarterback. Definitely, because Donald, I don't think Donald is the answer to them. Because the quarterback, you see the quarterbacks are evolving. Your top quarterbacks, look at your top quarterbacks. Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers. Even though Aaron Rodgers is older, he still runs too. He's still a quarterback.
Well, he wants to get out of his contract.
Yeah, he's still but he's still
he's hosting Jeopardy. Looking pretty good hosting Jeopardy.
Yeah, and he's looking at that money too because
they
said if they looking at like possibly offering him. They said that might be a second gig, and if they can come close to some of the money that he's looking for, he said he might just go ahead and take that position and retire.
Yeah, he's good at it.
Yeah.
I tell you, I was very impressed. He looked very clean cut. Suit looked good on him. And he really had the banter. You know, he had to fall into it for a minute.
Right.
But he had the banter, and I wouldn't stop watching it because he's the host.
Right. You know? Some guys in the NFL is going to be able to, like you said, transition to other positions. Right. And they might even be known more in these other positions than the current position. Now, he's going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback, but
regardless,
Jeopardy, he might even be a Hall of Fame game show host. Or, he might take over for Alex Trebek and step right in and put some numbers
Well, I will tell you, he's pretty good so far.
Yeah, I watched some of the
so far, so good.
Episode,
Yeah. But now, let's talk about New England's hope. So far, I've not heard any rumors about them getting rid of Cam Newton.
No. He resigned. Cam Newton resigned. So he did. He took I think it was like a $10 million contract.
How many years?
1 year. I think it was another 1 year.
Okay. Yes. All right.
But they basically give him a second audition. Like, all right.
Yeah, and I would hope that this time, they'll take the time. Not that they haven't been.
Right.
But, the season was shorter last year. And, it was a tough season. Tough season for NFL.
Right.
I came in number 10 out of 12 in my fantasy football league.
Oh, wow.
At least I secured the 10th spot.
Right.
But I'm hoping that they will invest the time in Cam Newton.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they'll invest the time in him because he's got the potential. There's no question about it.
Yeah. But Cam is, like you said, Cam is one of them. He's going to be good. anywhere it goes. Like once he retire, if he have to end up retiring, he's gonna be good because he has that transition into his second career. He can go into journalism. He can go into his own podcast and these different things. He good.
Yeah, because he's doing commercials and everything right now, almost like Shaq. You know, when Shaq first went to LA, it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, Shaq is the great example. Shaq transitioned right out of NBA and made more money outside of NBA.
Right, outside the NBA than he did with it. Yeah. But I'm hoping that New England does give him that opportunity. You know, I haven't heard anything about the Giants and what they're doing. Have you?
So they end up getting. I think they got Holiday. Well, did they get Holiday, the receiver? Well, I know they did pretty good. I think they did pretty good in this free agency. I think they did pretty good in free agencies, and I think they on a good path. Let me say it like that. And then they
have been in a while.
Yeah, they're on a good path. I think they're pretty good. I think if they make a couple key picks in this draft, they should be good.
Well, we will see. You know, I mean, I would like to see one of the Mannings end up in the front office. I think that would be a good thing for them.
You're right.
You know, because I think, and we've had this discussion before, you know, that by the Giants being located where they are, they've got an automatic audience, unlike other places.
Of course.
So it doesn't matter whether, you know, somebody in Texas likes the Giants or not, because they've got the New York metropolitan area.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
they always make money.
They're, you know, so they're always going to make money. They're always going to be a top franchise, whether win, lose, or draw.
Right.
But the issue is, I see within the team itself, they don't have that rah-rah spirit. You know, even their fans are mad at them half the time. You know, and it just doesn't seem like the sports writers give them grace. Their fans don't give them a whole lot of grace. You know, so they need something from within that will keep them, you know, focused, because they don't have that.
I think both New York Jets and Giants are both teams that they're going to make money anywhere it goes, hands down.
Yeah.
Like I said, NFL, big market teams are always going to make money. And that's why you'll never see a New York owner besides the Mets. I'm shocked that the Mets even sold their franchise. I'm still to this day can't believe that they sold the franchise, but they sold it for
it was a lot of money,
like $3 billion or something. But
it was a lot of money.
Shocking.
But that goes to your point, not to cut you off. Excuse me, but that goes to your point,
right?
That they're a New York franchise.
It's shocking for a New York franchise to be sold. Period. And when they come on market, you're gonna get these groups,
right,
of all these players, just like Boston, New York, California. These teams that come open in these markets, it's rare for them to come open.
That's true.
So that's one thing you got to look at. The Giants, the Mets, the Knicks, the Brooklyn. I mean, even with New Jersey,
Nets.
New Jersey sold and switched over to Brooklyn, and they sold to the Russian guy, and then he ended up selling it again. So I was shocked that Brooklyn traded hands that quick within a 10-year span. Yeah. And I was shocked. Because them teams do not sell. They keep that in family for generation.
Right. They usually do,
rare, unless they get forced out by the NFL, NBA players or whatever. Because you see Donald Stern, wasn't it Donald Stern or Sternley? The guy from LA?
Yep.
You see what he did? They had to force him out. They had to force him up out of there because, you know, he was talking crazy, acting crazy, but he got up out of it. They forced him up out of it.
Yeah.
Like, yo, you gotta
for the Clippers.
Yeah, they told him, like, you gotta get up out of here.
Well, and a prime example of that is the recent piece with Renee Montgomery. Right. You know,
being the owner. Yep.
Being the owner of the dream. You know, same kind of thing. You know, when these, especially in this day and time, you know, no longer especially because you have so many people of color playing the game.
Yeah.
You know, which goes into the Major League Baseball piece.
Right.
You know,
oh,
you
yeah.
have so many people of color playing the game, Black and brown people. You can't say, well, you know, I'm going to call them the N word, or, you know, they're a bunch of pickaninnies, or, you know, just different things. You can't do that now.
Right.
Because just because you're paying somebody all this money does not necessarily mean that they're at your beck and call.
Right.
Or that you can call them names or treat them any kind of way. You know, right. I heard a conversation today in listening to ESPN where the person was saying, oh, well, New York's laws are just as strict as Georgia's laws. But what you have to understand is there's a disenfranchisement
Right.
with the voting that is being taken away, and that most of these laws give the Republicans in Georgia the right to take away votes. That's the difference.
Yeah.
It's not so much that, even though, yeah, it's trust me, it is absolutely nuts that it is against the law for you to give somebody food and water that have been standing in line to vote. That's ridiculous.
That's why we're going to go ahead and eat and drink as much water before we go out there to the polls.
Yep.
We're going to
absolutely.
We're going to
find ways.
Yeah, we're going to find ways to stay out there.
To get around it.
To get around
you know, because in all reality, you know, this was not about whether people won as much as it was, we don't want this large of a turnout again.
Right.
We don't want people to come out like this again. We want to control that. And that's the part that people don't understand when they say this is taking it back to Jim Crow, because that's what Jim Crow was about, controlling the vote. There were more Black people than there were white people in the 1860s because of slavery.
Right.
So when you give these people the right to vote and they outnumber you, guess what's going to happen? So it's the same thing. But people are not, you know, they're not looking at the laws. They're not thinking about what this means. And if you had watched the news every day, you would have known what had gone on and why these laws have been brought into place.
Right.
I mean, it's plain and simple.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's the argument that not only, you know, do you have people of color playing, but you also, this stadium was built in Cobb County to take it out of the original neighborhood that it was in, because that neighborhood had gotten to be too Black. It was too poor. So we don't want stadium here anymore.
Right.
The other thing that people aren't thinking about with this, in, you know, All-Star game, Major League Baseball All-Star game, is that this was the game they were going to honor Hank Aaron.
Right.
How can you, you know, it's contradictory. How can you honor Hank Aaron knowing that these laws are in place?
He was fighting, that's what he was fighting for.
And that's what he was fighting for.
So yeah, you can't do that.
So how can you say, yes, it's wrong, it's going to affect the economy? And my soror, Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms, has said that. Stacey Abrams has said that. But Major League Baseball, I believe, just did not want to be in the middle of that fight, especially when they were supposed to be honoring Hank Aaron.
Right. Got to go. Got to move it.
And, you know, I mean, let's face it. People are talking about, oh, well, the Masters is not moving. But we kind of know what kind of organization the Masters is.
It's been around, what they say, the Masters. Been around for 100 years, 200 years. Yeah. Yeah.
And you know, they just got Black people on their board of governors 4 or 5 years ago.
Right.
So, you know, that's a more conservative body. Major League Baseball is still trying to appeal to young people. That's the other thing. And they know that young people are not going to take too kindly to them having a baseball game in a state where voters' rights are restricted.
Right. And that's what the turnout. If you think about it from the voting this past election, young people, women of color.
Right.
Young people and women of color changed the whole voting dynamics in Georgia. That's why we got 2 Democrats. Well, that's why 2 Democrats in Georgia that won Georgia seats, and Joe Biden is the president of the United States.
Right.
Because that are women of color and young people. So, like you said, appealing to the young people. And baseball, no, they are on their last leg.
Right.
The old boy system is not going to work anymore.
Right.
In order for them to keep it going and be hip to what you got to keep up with the NBAs, you know, you got to keep up with the Adam Silvers.
Yep.
You got to keep up with that type of commissioner. Same thing with NHL. He was talking to the commissioner of NHL. He was saying, hey, some of the changes that they was going to do. Some of the things how they was trying to implement the young people into the crowd and technology. You got to it's almost like you got to bring in technology, and you got to do things for women. Women control, like women is, hey.
Yeah, we control the money.
Y'all winning. Y'all control the masses right now.
Yep.
Everything.
So
we got to do things that just as a business owner, I got to always do things to appeal. Like, if you think about the Hustle Within, my show is 3 guys on it, but we always cater into the women.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We bring in women. I got to get you on the show, too. I got to get you on the Hustle Within. I forgot about that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I got to get you in on the show. But we always bring in, like, women of stature, women that's doing things in the community, just, you know, powerful women. We try to bring in women because why would we keep bringing in guys every week and we already got 3 guys on the podium? That don't make sense. So we have to appeal to that. To the masses, which is women right now. Women is the masses, and we got to start supporting women. And that's the thing about it.
Because you sure do. Yep.
Women are stepping up and doing all the right things right now. Like, they came in, they got Joe Biden into office. They got all these different. They got these senators in office.
We got a woman vice president.
Yes.
We got a woman vice president who went to an HBCU. Yeah.
Winning.
So
right
we doing our thing right now. It's time. Last but not least, we got 3 minutes. NCAA, women, men.
I loved it. I love both. They did.
It was fantastic this year. You could not deny.
Best games for both tournaments was UCLA against Gonzaga, classic, and the UConn and Baylor game.
Yeah.
The UConn women and the Baylor women. That was a classic.
Well, you know, here's the thing. Games like this are why I don't keep my bracket anymore. I stopped having a bracket like 4 or 5 years ago because of the simple fact that, lo and behold, there's somebody that's always going to come along and leave it all on the court. And I had said to a friend of mine, they said, why aren't you keeping a bracket? I said, because this year, for the first time, I really, truly got to watch the conference games in early March, into February, early March, right? So I saw it in Baylor. I saw it in UCLA. I saw it in USC. Gonzaga, I didn't even, because they were 26-0. I'm like, okay, they got,
Yeah.
And as far as the women are concerned, despite I'm a UConn fan.
Yeah, UConn always. UConn's gonna always be there.
Yeah.
Always
so I just thought this was the year that this freshman class was going to take it. Right. So I never even looked at who they were going to be up against. I know that
even High Point girls got into it this year. High Point University.
Yeah.
Congratulations, High Point U. They made it, and they got destroyed by UConn. They played UConn first round.
First round.
Yeah,
and they kind of got at them. But I really truly felt like UCLA just ran out of time. They didn't lose the game. They just ran out of time. Because they really truly gave it all. And I think in the long term, that's what affected Gonzaga in this game. Because I just think at a certain point, they just ran out of steam. It wasn't there for them. They were almost like Baylor was a surprise.
Yeah, because they never seen them type of. You never seen a football team. Yeah, you got college against NBA. That's what it was. NBA, them guys from Baylor look like NBA players compared to college players.
Yeah.
You got good college players against good NBA players. You're never going. Hey, college players never gonna win. It's impossible, and that's what we seen. We seen college against NBA.
Yeah, and I think as far as the women were concerned, I think Arizona too brought it all to the floor. I don't think they could have done any better than what they had done.
But that's them teams like that. This NCAA helps them to build, because who actually want to come? Like now, you're gonna have girls that coming in for All American. They're gonna say, "Hey, I want to go to Arizona."
Yep.
So I'd rather go.
Absolutely.
I want to go to Arizona than go to a UConn now. Because I get to play, and plus I get to play for a contender.
Right.
So
exactly.
What they did this year is going to affect the way they recruit moving forward.
Right. Absolutely.
So, good. Yeah, I enjoyed both tournaments. No fans. It was good. They had fans at the end though. It was still good. They set it up good. It was a good setup.
I think that, believe it or not, and we got a minute left, fans didn't matter.
No, it didn't matter. Yeah, you're right. It was good.
Fans didn't matter in the men or women's game. Because you always hear about, you can't take the noise. Oh, it's going to be, it's going to be low level because the teams don't have anybody to feed off of. When in fact, none of that mattered this time around. I think men and women, and even the NBA and WNBA, have gotten used to not having people there. There's crowd noise, but that's ambient crowd noise. It's being piped through the system. But as far as really having people in seats, as much as they need them to be there for monetary purposes, doesn't affect the play.
I think to be real with you, only thing when it comes to fans, NBA, and I think the NBA and NFL, they really need that fan support because, like you said, they play off the crowd.
Right.
Because it's momentum. It's about momentum, especially in the playoffs, especially in NBA playoffs. NFL, you can get by, playing a regular season game with no fans, with artificial sound or whatever, crowds or whatever. But baseball, you can get away with. You can have nobody in the stands.
It doesn't matter.
With baseball, you can do it. But hockey, same way. You have nobody in the stands.
It doesn't matter
because it's the same routines. Their plays are pretty much the same. There's not too many different plays, but in NBA, they need that crowd support, and I think NFL need that crowd support. Everybody else, hey, enjoy the TV. I watch them on TV.
Got the last word. This is it. We're done.
Oh, yeah. All right.
So, see you next month.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks to everybody joining us on Facebook Live. It's been a blast. Thanks, Antman, once again. Looking forward to being on the Hustle Within.
I gotta get.
Should be fun. Let me know when.
Oh, I'm
all right.
information. We're gonna talk.
All right, we will. We will.
A&T, yeah, Carolina. I like the Carolina part.
Thanks, Antman.
Right,
thanks, everybody. This has been The Collective. Facebook Live for WSME Enlightenment Radio.